Hey guys, it's Prince Rich with Rich Technology Group, and today's video, you probably see the title and you're thinking, wait, what's going on here? So let me give you a little backstory before we jump into what's going on here. So you guys already know we've been doing the voice over IP thing, helping, many hundreds of businesses all across the United States figure out what VoIP service providers as well as hardware solutions make the most sense. And back in the day, Panasonic used to be one of the big like dogs that had some really awesome phones. If we're speaking just totally honestly, there was this phone. I'm going to get nostalgic on you guys now. There was this phone called the Panasonic TGP 550. I know I'm showing my age now for those of you who remember this phone. Vonage supported it. I want to say that Ring Central supported it. I think maybe even Nextiva and some of those other guys supported it. It was an excellent phone. It was like a cordless phone with an actual desk phone, like all built into one. It was super durable. And more importantly, and I tested this out myself, this thing had crazy good range. But then we started noticing that most of the providers, when you looked at their list of what they offered in phones, it was, your Cisco's, your Polycoms, your Yealinks, but it was just less and less Panasonic. We didn't think much of it, and I've had many customers that have asked me over the previous months, I wouldn't say over the previous year in 2020, hey, Prince, I like Panasonic. Can you hook me up so I can, get a Panasonic with this carrier or that carrier? And I would go to the carrier and they'd say, I'm sorry, we don't support Panasonic anymore. We've got a couple of old ones that we still carry around in stock, but once they're gone, they're gone. And we wondered why. But then we saw this news that actually just came out this week at the time of this video, which explains kind of our suspicions. I'm going to play this video really quick from our good buddies over at VOIP Supply, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on here and our thoughts at Rich Technology Group about what we think is going to happen and what we recommend for for those of you who watch this video and have some concerns. Listen.
So Panasonic announced in early December of 2020 that they were going to be exiting business communications because of the shift to hosted solutions. If you're currently using Panasonic devices, don't panic just yet. They are going to support those devices and try to keep inventory available for at least 2 years. But if you're looking for something else, you're trying to be a little bit proactive, VoIP Supply has great alternative options. So I really encourage you to reach out to our solutions consultants, have a conversation with them, and figure out what's going to be the right replacement solution for you.
Okay, so what you just heard there basically is, VoIP Supply, for those of you who may or may not know, that's actually my good buddy, Mary Cheney, the marketing manager over at VoIP Supply. That's my wonderful friend that sends me all the wonderful hardware, IP phone toys and things that you see that we do for reviews. So if anybody would know what's going on in the industry in regards to service provider and especially hardware manufacturer and distributor news, it's these guys over at VOIP Supply. So once I saw this video that came out this week, I realized, okay, that confirms my suspicions because we personally have seen less and less Panasonic options with most of the carriers. As a matter of fact, as an example, I actually had a woman that we were working with on a Vonage account this 2 weeks ago from the time of this video that basically said, hey, Prince, I like Vonage. I saw your channel. We want to move forward with them, but I've got some specific Panasonics that I want them, that I'm going to buy through Amazon or whatever for them to support. And I told her, I said, I don't think Vonage supports those. I don't think anybody does. When we did some research, Vonage did not, and nobody really did, and she couldn't understand why. This explains some of this because Panasonic, from what our friend over at VoIP Supply here, Mary Cheney, is saying, is that they are pulling out of business communications, as it sounds like, for the foreseeable future. We don't know why, but that's not really the point. The bigger point is, so the question now becomes, you have two categories of customers. You have customers that are using Panasonic currently, and they need to still find support. Let's talk about them first. So as Mary basically put it, it sounds like Panasonic is going to continue to support those phones for the upcoming next 2 years. What capacity of support that is, we don't know. I would assume that means technical support, access to data sheets, white papers, maybe even firmware updates and things like that for the provisioning. That may also mean limited or stock, which will become limited as the 2 years decreases, as the clock starts ticking. That may even mean that they will maintain maybe a certain amount of stock for people that are still using phone systems that use Panasonic hardware that need replacement for parts or phones or whatever it may be. Eventually, they're going to pull the plug. But Mary is correct. For those of you who may or may not know, VoIP Supply is one of the biggest distributors in the United States that carries everything, Yealink, Cisco, existing Panasonic hardware. For those of you that right now may need hardware and support, and many other things, such as like Sangoma Digium phones, and the list goes on and on and on. They may actually have many different phone models that work with your current phone system. If it's out there, they would know. More importantly, as this kind of unfolds and people find themselves in a position, this is category number 2. As people find themselves in a position where it's time to now upgrade or get rid of their old Panasonic business phone system or hardware that's going to no longer be supported by Panasonic, VOIP Supply could easily look at what you have and say, okay, hey, even though this phone system that you've got is Panasonic, we've got this system over here, a 3CX this, or a Sangoma this, that has the same and more features as your old system, but may work with some of those phones, or may be similar, or may have an easy transition away from Panasonic to something that's either similar to what you're using currently so that your staff doesn't have to deal with a huge curve of training, or similar price or better than what you paid for the old system, but actually a little bit better. So anyways, that kind of concludes this video about Panasonic leaving the market. This news that Mary Cheney and VoIP Supply and them stumbled upon and showcased in their news video for February 2021 kind of confirms our suspicions. We had a feeling that Panasonic was kind of headed in that direction. Even in early 2020 and late 2019, we started to notice that less and less hosted service providers were basically supporting or offering Panasonic as an option. We're kind of sad to see them go, because without going into the many different models, you guys, I can honestly tell you that Panasonic has historically had some of the most legendary phones out there, not only from durability, but just the sheer quality of them, and they seem like they last forever. I can tell you guys about Panasonic IP phones I had. It seems like some of the IP phones I have, they last for 2 or 3 years. I had Panasonic IP phones back then that seemed like they last 5 to 7 years, no problems, until I dropped it on the ground for the 500th time and it finally broke open, which, by the way, even though they were durable like that, it doesn't really say in the box that it's okay to do that. But nonetheless, if you're watching this and you were interested in Panasonic but you haven't adopted it, this is now kind of letting you know that, hey, maybe you need to get with me and get with VOIP Supply and figure out some alternative options. If you've got Panasonic currently and it's time to figure out, what you need to do with them exiting the business communications market, the timing right now is good. Based on what Mary's saying, you've still got approximately 2 years before they completely vacate the market. So you've got time to start looking at different options and figuring out what's out there for you. If you're interested in chatting with me or chatting with somebody over at VOIP Supply, my information is below in this video and on our blog. There's also going to be a link to our dedicated Rich Technology Group page on VOIP Supply's website. You can either contact me directly through that page, or you can call VOIP Supply on that same page with their phone number, or hit somebody up in the chat and just let them know your situation. Just don't forget to let them know that Prince Rich with Rich Technology sent you. Again, if you found this video helpful, please like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. We upload new videos every single week. Prince Rich with Rich Technology Group, your go-to guy for the best deals on business phone and internet service in the United States. I'll catch you guys again in the next video.